we're going to use three different types of visual indicators. We'll use a hand every time I tap. Every time I hit a button on the outside of the device, we'll give you an icon, and we're going to use arrows to help point out key information on screen. Before I do a tour of the extensive menuing system of AssistiveTouch, I want to talk a little bit about the actual menu itself and how it works. In order to activate the menu, tap on the little white button, and in my case it's on the right hand side, so I'm going to tap on that. You'll see 4 items in that button. The top 3 items actually lead into other menus, and we'll get into that in a second. One of the things that's not apparent, though, is let's talk about exiting out first of AssistiveTouch. I can tap anywhere outside of the menu itself, and that will exit out of AssistiveTouch. So I've just tapped on the home screen and it exited out. So that's one item. The second item that I want you to know, and I'm going to launch AssistiveTouch again, is that in the middle, especially when you get into gestures, both custom gestures and stock gestures, to deactivate a gesture, you tap in the center of the menu, and that also will turn the menu off. So it does 2 things. It deactivates a gesture and turns the menu off. So that's really important. The other thing you'll note, for those of you familiar with iOS 5, this is a beta version of iOS 6, and the AssistiveTouch menu is much larger in this version in the new iOS 6 than it is in the old iOS 5. And there's also some new menu items, so I want to talk about that. Now let's get into a little bit of action here. So the first thing you're going to see is the home button at the bottom. If I were to tap on it, which I will do right now, it does exactly what the physical home button does. So I tap on it, and notice that it moved me from the home screen. It shut down the AssistiveTouch menu. It moved me from the home screen to the search pad. And this is exactly the same behavior as if I were touching on the physical home button, and I will show you. I'm going to tap and scroll over to the home page, and I'm now going to tap on the physical home button, tap, and you'll see that it did exactly what I did when I did with the AssistiveTouch menu. The next submenu I want to focus on in the AssistiveTouch is the gesture submenu. So I'm going to tap on AssistiveTouch to activate the main menu, and then tap on gestures. And I'm presented with 5 options. I can either mimic a 2-finger, 3-finger, 4-finger, or 5-finger gesture, or I can use the arrow key to get back out of the menu system. So I have multi-touch turned on, and so if I use 4 fingers on screen and swipe upwards, I will then be able to get the multitask bar. So I'm going to show you how to do that with 1 finger. So I'm going to use 1 finger to tap on the 4-finger gesture, and you can see on screen I have 4 fingers, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to tap and flick up. And then watch, as you can see, I've just opened up the multi-touch menu, and I can, to get rid of the multi-touch menu, I can tap and flick down. And that's the reason why I'm able to do that is I have multi-gestures turned on, but that gives you a good sense. I did all of this with 1 finger. So it's a good example of how the gesture system works. Now, notice that I still have those 4 fingers there. In order to turn off the gesture once it's activated, I need to tap on the AssistiveTouch menu again and then tap in the center, and that deactivates the last gesture. One of the most extensive submenus of the AssistiveTouch menu is the device submenu. So tap on the AssistiveTouch button, tap on device, and you get the first of 3 submenus. In the upper left-hand corner is the lock screen. If I were to tap on this, this would do exactly the same thing that the wake sleep button does. And for the sake of this demonstration, I won't actually tap on it, but it would cause the screen to go blank and put the iPad to sleep. The next button over is the rotate screen submenu. So I'm going to tap on that, and you get 4 options, and then you're able to go back. So if I tap on portrait, you'll actually see the screen rotate, and then I can tap on left, and that will bring me back. But I can turn the screen in 360 degrees. Tap in the center to get back. The next button is the lock rotation button. If I tap on that, you'll see in the upper right hand corner the lock rotation, and if I were to move the iPad, it would not rotate. So I'm going to unlock that. The next 2 buttons before we get to the more button is the volume up, volume down. So I'm going to tap twice on the volume up, and you'll see the volume will go up. Tap, tap, and the volume goes up. And I'm going to tap twice and the volume go down, and that will bring the volume down. So that's exactly like the hardware buttons. Next, when I hit the More button, I'm taken to another submenu. This is a new submenu to iOS 6, And this is a beta version of iOS 6, so this may not be the final configuration. But previously in iOS 5, I had the shake button, but it was in the first submenu and not in the sub-submenu. I do have 3 new options. Triple click on the home button. This button will mimic tapping on the home button 3 times. I need to, in accessibility program, to do something. I don't have a program to do here, but you could have a program to launch and deactivate AssistiveTouch as an example. Take a screenshot. If I tap on that, I'm going to actually do that, tap on it and take a screenshot. And it actually takes a screenshot. It shuts down the AssistiveTouch menu and takes a screenshot of the actual screen. Device, more. Multitasking launches the multitasker. So I'm going to tap on that, and you can see that it brings up the multitasker. And if I tap it again, the same button again, it'll shut down the multitasker. So AssistiveTouch, device, more submenu, tap the multitasker, and it brings down and brings me back to where I was. And then the last one, device, more, is shake. Shake is supposed to, when the developer programs it to do so, shake will actually mimic the device shaking. It doesn't actually shake the device. It just tells the program that the shake sensor has gone off. In a lot of testing, I was very excited about the shake button because if you have this device mounted to a wheelchair, the shake button allows you to use applications that use the motion sensor. But in my testing, it really hasn't panned out that not every developer develops for it, so that's unfortunate. The last submenu I want to discuss is the favorite submenu, and that is where custom gestures can be accessed within the AssistiveTouch menu. Tap on AssistiveTouch and then tap on favorites. Earlier I created a scroll down custom gesture, and that's where the star is. But default is this pinch gesture. So let me illustrate how to use pinch, and then I'll illustrate scroll down. So the best application I can think of to illustrate pinch is the photo album. So I'm going to tap out of AssistiveTouch, I'm going to tap on photos, and you're going to see our camera roll. I'm going to tap into one of the photographs to bring it up. And then I'm going to bring up the pinch gesture. So I'm going to tap on the AssistiveTouch, tap on favorites, and tap on pinch. So scrolling out makes it bigger, scrolling out makes it scrolling in makes it smaller, and this is exactly what would happen if you were pinching with 2 fingers. Anywhere I tap, I still have the pinch gesture turned on. So I want to turn that off now because I want to show you the other gestures. So I tap on AssistiveTouch and hit the center of the AssistiveTouch menu, and that turns off the pinch gesture. Now the next one I want to show you, I'm going to get out to the home page and tap on the settings application, and you see how I'm using my finger to scroll up and down. See how long that is? Well, if you have a user that has a hard time with sort of fine motor, you can turn on AssistiveTouch, turn on favorites, and I'm going to show you that scroll down gesture I just made. And you can now tap and it's going to scroll up every time, and there it is. And just by tapping on the screen once, I can scroll up. Same is true over here. For more information, go to iPadsForSpecialNeedsBook.com, where you'll find more videos, other resources like cheat sheets, and a book on how to use the iPad for your special needs user.